Hi everyone, I'm Andrew and it's a jungle out there. In 2017, a reboot of a childhood classic managed to hold its own against Star Wars. And this month, Jumanji The Next Level goes toe-to-toe with Rise of the Skywalker in a no-holds-barred box office rematch.
You got to have eyes in the back of your head.
What in the Sam Hill?
Obviously, Star Wars has a very strong advantage, but don't discount the draw that is Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Huh? The new Jumanji movie is a great example of how to do reboots right. But just how did a 32-page children's book spawn a billion-dollar movie franchise? What were the original extremely bizarre plans for a sequel, and how did the current incarnation take shape? This is the true story of Jumanji. When Jumanji creator Chris Van Allsburg earned a master's degree in sculpture, he was surprised to learn that full-time employment as a sculptor was somewhat hard to come by. I hear you, buddy. In his downtime, he doodled designs for future pieces, and when his wife saw his detailed, dreamlike pencil and charcoal drawings, she suggested that he turn them into illustrations for a children's book. Van Allsburg's first story, The Garden of Abdul Ghazazi, was published in 1979. And while it sold well, his next book placed him in the upper echelon of author illustrators. Jumanji was inspired by childhood memories of playing board games like Monopoly. Van Allsburg loved how this sparked his imagination, but he was always disappointed by the fact that even when you won, all you've got to show for it are some plastic hotels and fake money. He envisioned a mysterious, magical board game that delivered on its promises and brought the terrors of the jungle to life with each roll of the dice.
It's not real, Peter.
The book itself is pretty sparse. Like, there are more words in the script to this video than that book. And the story is basically bored kids find game in park, kids play game and bad things happen to them, kids win game and dump it back outside for the next group of hopeless saps. But when Jumanji was published in 1981, it quickly became a sensation thanks to its intriguing concept and intricate art that tells a ton of story within a single still image. Just look at those monkeys. And how much fun those monkeys are having. Jumanji earned Van Allsburg his first Caldecott medal, and he'd go on to win another for the Polar Express, which would also go on to become a beloved movie with weird and sometimes unsettling CGI.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Do you know what kind of train this is?
But the author would get his first taste of Hollywood years before, when he was enlisted to help save the troubled production of Jumanji the movie. When Van Allsburg learned that the film rights to Jumanji had been sold to Sony, with megastar Robin Williams attached as the lead actor, the author was probably a little confused because aside from the hunter, there are no adult characters in his book. Multiple screenwriters had tried and failed to flesh out a book you could read in 9 minutes into a feature-length film, and even though they had a director on board in The Rocketeer and Captain America's Joe Johnston, Sony was about to abandon the project entirely. But first, they asked Van Allsburg himself to try his hand on the script. The author's draft has never surfaced, but it was apparently far more surreal and mysterious than the somewhat formulaic blockbuster it turned into. Still, the film finally had a foundation, and after even more rewrites, the cast quickly fell into place. Besides Williams and co-star Bonnie Hunt, Bradley Pierce, best known as the voice of Chip in Beauty and the Beast and Tails in the 90s Sonic cartoon, had to endure a grueling 3-hour makeup procedure every day for 70 days to turn him into a mutated monkey boy. 11-year-old Scarlett Johansson actually auditioned for the role of his sister, but she lost out to 13-year-old Kirsten Dunst, who was already becoming a star thanks to Interview with a Vampire and Little Women. Black Widow lost out to Mary Jane. Wow. Jumanji was an early experiment in CGI special effects, and while some of these animals look extremely rough around the edges today, it's still an impressive effort for 1995. In any effects-heavy film, it's fairly important to stick to the script, which is why Johnston was worried about Robin Williams' infamous improv.
I've got an incredible problem with dyslexia? That's a different thing. We can't talk about that on the radio.
He filmed most scenes as 2 takes, one that stuck to the screenplay, and one where Williams could ramble and riff away. The final product was a sweet yet surprisingly intense film. Parents and critics alike roasted it for being way too scary, but as always, the kids themselves loved it.
Neat.
Jumanji was a smashing success, earning over $260 million worldwide and inspiring both a real board game and animated series, complete with bizarre character designs from Duckman creator Everett Peck. Sony had a franchise on their hands, but they spun their wheels so long on a sequel that we'd have to wait almost 22 years for the reboot. By 1999, Jumanji 2 was well into development under director Ken Ralston, best known for his FX work on Star Wars, and early leaks painted an extremely strange picture. Since Robin Williams wouldn't be returning, the setting shifted to the White House, where the President of the United States finds the game to play with his kids in the West Wing. After he gets sucked into the game, his evil vice president, played by Steve Buscemi, takes over, until POTUS returns from the jungles of Jumanji with an army of extremely toyetic hybrid animals to take back control of the country. And, of course, bond with his son.
You are my son. You're better than anyone.
Excuse me.
After this weird concept died on the vine, Van Allsburg wrote his own follow-up in 2002. Zathura is pretty much the exact same story, just in a sci-fi setting. The kids from the end of Jumanji open the box and find a different game underneath. They get sucked into space, learn lessons about the importance of family, and yada, yada, yada. Zathura was adapted into a live-action movie in 2005, but it avoided all mentions of Jumanji and served as a standalone film instead. It was a big-time box office bomb and nearly derailed the career of director Jon Favreau, until he bounced back with a little picture called Iron Man 3 years later. Ever heard of it? Ironically, Favreau helped usher in our current age of big-budget CGI blockbusters, creating the perfect environment for Jumanji to make a triumphant return. Sony made their plans for a Jumanji reboot public in August of 2015. Sadly, the announcement was tainted by tragedy because it came on the 1-year anniversary of Robin Williams' untimely passing. Yikes. Announcing a remake so close to the death of the beloved star of the original understandably upset fans, and they were still skeptical even when the most electrifying man in entertainment got on board. Dwayne Johnson was the first to reveal that his new Jumanji would indeed be a Jurassic World-style sequel and would pay homage to the original film.
I mean, this is Alan Parrish's house. I'm just living in it.
While updating the concept to reflect the rise of video games in the decades since the original story was written. A superstar cast, including Kevin Hart and Jack Black, quickly solidified, although scheduling conflicts meant that Tom Holland and Shailene Woodley would be replaced by Nick Jonas and Karen Gillan, respectively. Anticipation grew slowly but surely, and when Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle released on December 20 of 2017, it was a smash success. On opening weekend, it placed second behind The Last Jedi, which came out the week before, but in its second week, Jumanji actually rose to the top spot, thanks to extremely strong word of mouth. It's a perfect, punchy popcorn movie with a surprising amount of heart and a refreshing spin on merging movies with video games.
Hey, quick question. How is strength my weakness?
We did a whole video on that particular aspect, and I encourage you to go watch it, but remember that I botched the pronunciation of Jumanji in that video, and I will never ever live it down. I never expected Jumanji.
Any last words?
Jumanji? No.
It's Jumanji.
Thanks to star power, a simple concept, and a solid execution, Jumanji grossed just under $1 billion, making the sequel, The Next Level, an inevitability. And we wouldn't have to wait 22 years for it either.
I have one important question. Who is Jumanji?
Is that Barbara's boy?
We're gonna die.
I'm excited to see what Danny Devito, Awkwafina, and Danny Glover will bring to the franchise, and it might just give Skywalker a run for its money, but no matter what happens, it's extremely impressive to me that a frustrated sculptor took his board game fantasies and transformed them into a beloved blockbuster franchise.
I missed you so much. Oh my God, you guys, hi.
Bethany?
You guys, we're back in Jumanji.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I want to know what your favorite board game is. Do you like Clue, Catan, Mysterium, one of those massive Euro games with 80,000 pieces? Who knows, we may make a video about it. Anyway, leave a comment, let me know. Please subscribe to Now This Nerd, and if you see Alan Parrish, tell him what year it is.